Hello, guys. It's Hunter Unit 751 here, back with another podcast, our second podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 years of Halo jumping because we're a little bit late to it, but just over a month, or nearly a month ago, we passed the 10-year anniversary of Spartan Warrior uploading its first tournament, which we're pretty sure is the first ever Halo jumping, Halo Ninja Warrior type course of any kind on Halo. With me today, we got Alpha Puma again, and then we got two guys who have been probably around Halo jumping longer than anybody else. We got Double Ump and Filthy Phil. Could be better. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Dude.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good, Hunter.
Okay, good. So yeah, we've had 10 years of Halo jumping. Jesus Christ, I cannot believe that it's been 10 years. And you've been around for almost 9 of it.
About
9 years of it. 9 of them, I want to say. You were in. I can't remember which Spartan Warrior tournament was your first one.
It was
I mean, they weren't really
season 2.
They weren't really tournaments then. They were just sort of like episodes, and like sometimes 1.5 episodes was one tournament, and then another half an episode was another tournament and stuff like that. But yeah, you were when they moved to he changed maps or something, didn't he? Like I can't remember the map that he was on, but then he changed maps, and then the first tournament on that map you were in.
From like Valhalla to Standoff or something.
Yeah.
It was on Valhalla, and then it changed to
7, right? The standoff, you failed the skyscraper.
Yeah, it was the 7th tournament. Failed the skyscraper. Puma never lets me forget that.
First tournament starts with E or something like that.
For you, Phil.
The first tournament for Yard, it was like on basic Halo 3 map. It was like
it was on that.
Starts with an E there.
That map it should never have been on. That should never be used as a jumping course. Or or whatever the hell that was. No, Phil, what was
Yeah, I appreciate the original though.
We had a bit of a discussion about this before we started filming it, but we're trying to work out when Phil actually first appeared in a Halo jumping course.
Mystery man.
I thought it was Ultimate Spartan Challenge by which was LZ Ravenger's course, I think, but
technically the first course I was in was never aired. It's by a guy named IGI J-Rod back on Halo 3. It was like some Christmas special or something that he did on Sandbox, but just never aired it, so.
Were you saying that was the same?
Oh yeah, that was the Halo Sasuke guy. I remember his first 2 courses.
I was gonna say, was this the same person? Was this the same person that did the Foundry courses, but like the one that you were on was on Sandbox?
Yeah. Basically, if you killed anybody after you failed, you basically just won like $20 because
that was funny. That
it was impossible.
You failed the course. You failed the course, and you have to start killing people. That was different.
Yeah.
It was a fun way of incorporating something different into Halo jumping, although obviously it was pretty new back then still.
Yeah.
And then Puma, obviously, I'm pretty sure your first tournament was.
It was your course.
Oh, was it my course? Shit, I was going to say Halo Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, I did Smokey's tournament 10 about half an hour after I did your tournament 15.
Ah, dear. Well, you say half an hour because like you were on my course and then you were like pretty much off it straight away. You did not so good.
Yeah, I failed the rolling ball, and then Smokey immediately threw me on his course.
Back then, we just thought you were another scrub. Little did we know that you would become Captain Save
both
Jump.
on your course and Smokey's, I'd get to the warp wall
and then become a
scrub. The warp wall.
Comes around full circle.
Then I became sweaty tryhard practice guy.
Yeah, there's been several phases of Puma.
There's
the scrub, the tryhard, and now just
I have that title.
well, whatever Puma is.
Practice guy.
Captain Save Jump.
All I do is practice.
I don't really know.
Oh yeah, I invented the save jump. That's a fun jumping tidbit.
It's a pretty odd one for me though, because like I used to watch Spartan Warrior, and then when it moved to Halo Reach, Like, I think I was watching the Halo 3 tournaments as like he started on Halo Reach, and then when I got to the first Halo Reach tournament, he was like on his second one, and then eventually caught up and was watching them, and then he announced his fourth tournament on Halo Reach, and I was so determined to get in on it. So I would have been like 15 or something, I want to say. So this was like 10 o'clock at night when he was on the night he was hosting the tournament. I was like, convinced my mum to stay up. And then I just couldn't get in the game. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll try and do the next tournament. And then he went and cancelled it. So, you know.
So.
And then obviously.
I think that was like the only person to ever get a rerun on Spartan Warrior.
How did you do that?
I said I got
How
shot.
you pull that one?
What was you said? What?
And then
Which one was
I said I
it?
got shot. It was.
Were you on the sandbox ones on Spartan?
No, this was on Reach.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you had those open lobbies, just people joining in like crazy.
Yeah, I
And
tried.
I remember I
tried
got
getting
to
in.
redo because I lagged off a mongoose and flew backwards 1,000 feet on sandbox. Like, there's an obstacle where you had to like hit a jump and then jump off the mongoose and like land on a platform. But when I jumped off the mongoose, my Spartan just shot across the map. So,
Oh, and he's gone right back to the start line. Interesting. Were you in any of the? Again, and it's just something that we were trying to work out. Phil's history of Halo jumping is a bit obscure, particularly at the beginning. Were you in any of the Halo 3 Spartan Warriors?
No, I wasn't.
Because I can remember you as Dark as Sick in most of the Halo Reaches.
you should just claim you were the one that didn't get aired and be like, yeah, I was back there.
The one when did really good and nobody ever saw it. Although, actually, no, I tell you what, there is a YouTube video of it out somewhere, I want to say.
I was too late joining. It was like Reach came out like 3 months after I got Xbox Live. So, and that was whenever Yard started doing his little subscriber count thing, and like no one would subscribe to him, so he didn't get any.
I remember tried to rally everybody to make a bunch of extra accounts and subscribe to him.
Yeah.
Like he wanted like 2,000 subscribers before he'd do like another tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, it got all big hype though, didn't it? Because it moved to Machinima, or he got the show onto Machinima, and then like it just slowly started getting less and less and less views, and then he just gave up on it, as I recall.
Yeah. Then he went to WWE for everything.
Literally for everything.
Didn't he hint about coming back?
Yes.
Like
Friggin'
when
MCC. He put up that stupid Forge Halo 3. He was forging in Foundry on Halo 3 on MCC. And he was, oh yeah, I'm Scottish. I'm Spartan Warrior. What was the other stuff he had? Last Man Standing, Orbidome.
And Orbidome was really fun.
I might want the Halo equivalent of the Crystal Maze for any UK people. Yeah, he was hinting, oh yeah, I might bring it all back. And then we never heard anything ever again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was an April Fool's joke that was just like really late.
That video is actually like kind of what got me back into jump. I was like, oh, if Yard's coming back, I might as well come back too. That was around like tournament 13 of Smokey's course. So I was like, well, Yard's tournament's coming out pretty soon. Apparently.
We can get onto all that actually, but we kind of covered the first question, which was like our first time. Oh, actually, no, I didn't even finish my question. Actually, sorry, or finish answering my own question. Like, so I wanted to be on Spartan Warrior, and then kind of missed out. And then obviously a few months later, I was like, I saw an opportunity because it's weird for me because for a long time before Smokey came around, I was just a guy that hosted tournaments. I didn't really do tournaments. So if I had to guess, I'd probably say friggin' Kenny's Spartan Ninja Warrior, whatever it was called, when he was like 13 years old. Probably the first jumping course I did. And then like you throw in like all of the other little courses. Oh, poor Kenny. Kenny's even worse. Kenny was even worse than Yard. Yeah, we're gonna go into a flow in terms of going through all the Halos and how jumping's changed in the last 10 years. But I've written down a list of some of the of some of these courses that are on YouTube anyway, so therefore they're legit. And Halo 3, there was a wide variety of stuff. Not just Spartan Warrior. I'd said Ultimate Spartan Challenge, which was LC Ravager. We said Halo Sasuke Challenge, which was the friggin' Foundry one. And then there were just a couple of obscure ones where it was just like, I don't even know if these are actually real or not. If they were
There's
just
Halo
like,
Warrior. That was probably the second biggest one on Halo 3.
who did that one?
He was like the guy that was like the sick guy, wasn't he? The guy who made that clan.
Oh,
Bill, didn't you join
Knight
that
is
clan?
sick. Knight is sick.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
You and
Back in
Drago
Knight
joined
back
that
in the
clan?
day.
Is that
Yeah.
how the Sick came along? Is that how Drago became iconic with his gamer tag?
Yeah.
Gamer tag because this one guy, they met because he was, ran this course. And so he's like, I'll join your clan, blah, blah, blah. So he changed his gamer tag to Drago is sick. That was a clan thing.
And the rest is history. Phil, you could have been the number 2. You could have been the other Sick. You could have been the famous Darkest Sick with how good you've done on some jumping courses. But no, you had to go and change your gamer tag about 50 times throughout the history of Halo jumping.
Yeah. I just make it funny things whenever I feel like changing it.
It could be better now.
So
It
people
could be anything. It could be better now, but it
Yeah.
literally could be anything. Like this time next year.
It probably will be something.
He doesn't
else.
even tell us. Like he doesn't even tell us when he's gonna. He had you were GameTypes or something like that for a long time, and then suddenly
Yeah.
just one day you just changed it, and it was just like, oh, all right. Yes, but some of these other ones I've got on this list are like just random videos like on YouTube where it's just like one off or 2 videos of people have put in loads of effort into making these courses, and then they got one person to run it so they can put a YouTube video up, and then you never
That's,
see it again.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'm actually going to bring up a funny story. This was like 2 years before I ran your course, Hunter. I looked up, I was watching the Ninja Warrior videos on YouTube when they were up on YouTube. And I typed in Halo Ninja Warrior because that was my favorite game when I was a little kid, so I looked it up. And it was like some guy that had like the G4 logos and like the obstacles, and he ran a course, and he had like Japanese talking, he made up his own subtitles.
Yeah,
And I
that's
thought
one of
it
the
was
ones
really
I've.
cool, but there wasn't
yeah.
like an actual tournament. And then
Back in the day, that was like an all right thing to do. Like you could just
yeah,
have
if
like a
if I
video
would've
put up,
found
but now it's
your
all
course, though,
tournaments and
like, it
stuff.
would have been 2 years. I would have found it 2 years earlier. Jumping could have been a
You wouldn't see that
all-star
in this day and age.
in
You
the
wouldn't
good old
see
days.
I don't know, Talking King put up a video of just showing off his course and one person acting as the test dummy that does the course. Like you wouldn't see that. You get tournaments now instead and like episodes and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to name off, shout out to all these random obscure people. We said Halo Warrior, and the YouTube channel is called I'm Halo 3. I don't know if this is the same Halo Warrior, but it's the one I've got on the list. Ninja Warrior Halo 3 Edition by XXX Scorpion. Shout out to you.
Oh, that one's a good
And then
one.
literally this one was just called Ninja Warrior by a guy called Cameron Marsden, who tried to claim that the Master Chief ran his course. So, shout out to the Master Chief, I guess.
Yeah, he took a lot of time out of his busy schedule to.
And then I've said all the other ones like LZ Ravager and then Impossible Games with the most ragtag duo since and Sauron on Aborigines, which we'll get to that later as well. But no,
I know there was another one in Halo 3 where like everyone failed the first obstacle because it was so impossible. It was
apart
like
from Spartan Warrior.
the window. It was like the foundry window doors as the first jump, the first like quadruple step.
Oh, that
And
was like
everyone would just fall through.
his course. I think it was
Yeah.
also called Halo Warrior. This guy was like a Spartan Warrior contestant. He had like 2 tournaments on Foundry.
Wasn't there a guy who tried to run
And,
a
like,
Halo 3
nobody,
course
like,
and
did
nobody
anything.
showed up for it and he got
Yeah.
like really pissed off because no one showed up for it? I feel I've heard that story
Might have been
before.
that guy.
Might have been
About, like,
iPoddy.
Sakash or
Maybe
something
that
like
guy after the first tournament after we went so poorly.
He had like one person in the first tournament and then nobody showed up for the second tournament.
Quite the turnout.
But yeah, we talked about first time competing. Can anybody, as another kind of general question to throw to everybody, what is like the first experience everyone has of seeing some kind of Ninja Warrior based thing on Halo that they saw on YouTube? Because my first experience was obviously Spartan Warrior. I don't know if everybody else is. I'm sure Puma's isn't, but I don't know if you guys, it was Spartan Warrior.
Okay,
Yeah, mine
I
was
got a fun
Spartan
story
Warrior.
with this. So besides the video of that I told you about that I saw 2 years prior to your first video, the first video I saw of yours, Hunter, because you're the first one I saw, and it was the top 10 moments video that you made, Hunter. That the top 10 moments of Ninja Warrior of
Halo
Halo.
Reach or Ninja Warrior of Halo, yeah. Oh, top 10
Yeah,
runs, I
and
think
then
it was, yeah.
I saw your Tournament 13 episode 1 because you uploaded that like back to back,
That was a good tournament.
and I got into that.
Yeah, but I assume yours was Spartan Warrior as well.
Well, I remember, watching Ninja Warrior. I was probably like 12 at the time. Yeah, like I fell in love with it. And I also loved Halo. So I just remember like sitting around one day and be like, it'd be really cool if just someone ran a Ninja Warrior course on Halo. So I literally looked at YouTube like how to on Halo, and Spartan Warrior came up. It was like video, maybe it's like second or third tournament at the time. So I just started watching. And
And you were 12 or
How old are
13
you?
at that time. That just shows our
Yeah, I was
ages
definitely
here.
12 because I remember on my 13th birthday, Yard uploaded a video, and I was like, oh, okay.
Phil,
You uploaded like
to,
tournament 4 or
not to try
something.
to show your age or anything, Phil, but how old were you when you first competed on a Halo jumping course?
I was, I think 12. Yeah, something like that.
God. I guess I
Yeah.
would have, yeah, like I said, I would have been
I
around
sounded
15.
like Atlantic champ when I first started doing them.
It's kind of weird putting it in perspective because I was also when I first ran your course I was 15 and now I'm 19.
Jesus
So
Christ.
yeah,
That's something
Yeah.
else, yeah. That it's just ridiculous, like the variety of people that we've had down the years. Like I can still distinctly remember how it used to be on Halo Reach when I first got going. Because when I first got going, it was like me, Ree, Drago, and an Epic Landlord most of the time, just hanging out in parties, just chilling, playing Halo, doing Ninja Warrior stuff. And then Ompud Phil, we were a part of it as well when they came into it. But then also, like once I'd started doing, like once I'd done a few Halo Reach tournaments, and then people like Duster Buster, Dom, Irish, they came into the fold, and suddenly I was suddenly hanging out with them loads, and I could still remember it. It was such a laugh at the time, and it just feels weird how much it's changed. I mean, obviously life goes on, and people have to get their own lives. And so people that we used to know, well, not for you two, obviously, but people move on from Halo jumping and then they get replaced with new people. Like in the last few years, we've had Fireball, Atlantic, Rog, Vulcan, Flame, and then more recently, Sauron, Talking King,
Neil.
No.
Yeah, Neil's pretty. We talked to Neil a lot.
I've
Alchemist.
never spoke to Neil. I think I've been in one party with Neil.
Neil loves the show. He just doesn't
I
like.
honestly
He
have no
loves
idea
Ninja
that.
Warrior and everything.
He's a dude
guy who
that's
competed on
done
Smokey's course a lot.
Smokey's course and was like beat stage 1. Sorry, shit. I mean, no, sorry. I don't know who Neil is.
No,
yeah, I
he,
have no
actually,
idea
wait,
who
he
Neil
did beat
is.
stage 1 in 17. So and that video's out, so we can say that.
Oh, okay,
Did
right. Yeah,
visibility
yeah.
on the show.
Okay. Yeah.
So he beat it in 17.
Right, okay. Yeah. Neil did good in tournament 17. Yeah. Yeah, but it just feels weird though, honestly. I can still remember what it used to be like in all the different Halos, like Halo Reach with Ree, Drago, and Epic. Oh, sorry, Epic
Choco
Landlord.
guy.
Taco guy. Taco
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
I had such a love-hate with Taco guy because Taco guy was one time he would be just so chilled and normal like anybody else, and then the other time he would always hold it against me about this one time when I shot him whilst he was doing a run because he touched the water. It's like I can't believe you shot me that one time. It's like, dude, this happened like a year ago. Let it go. And then Halo 4 with Dom and Duster. And I suppose Onpachi as well was a big part of Halo 4. Apart from that 6 months when you vanished and then suddenly came back.
Yeah.
So, Ump's back. Yeah, I don't know. It was good times. It was good times, honestly, back in the day. Would I take the guys that we used to have back in the day over this lot? I'm not going to answer that, but I'm sure Phil and will probably say yes, I imagine.
Fuck yes.
Damn.
Yeah, man, take me back.
You throw me out like trash. But,
Yeah, no offense, Puma. Sorry to all the good people like Puma and Snars. Sorry, yeah, forget you guys. We want the days of Irish and Dom, and and back when Irish and Dom were the
Oh
kids,
God, I forgot
rather
about
than
Irish.
back when Irish,
Before
Duster, and
Phil was
Dom
the kid.
were the kids, and Phil was a semi-kid, was a teenager.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was good old
Um,
days.
But then we came on to Halo Reach, obviously, when I started running tournaments. And then again, like I say, I looked this up, and there's some that are on YouTube, but then there's loads of others that I remember. One that's still on YouTube, which I know is probably pretty close to Phil's heart, is Halo Reach Ninja Warrior, which was 2 Bravo Delta. Which is obviously a course that Phil has done pretty well on
Yeah.
in the past.
Oh yeah, dude. That was my bread and butter.
The Shining tournament when Phil got total. Yeah, it just actually only just came into my mind now that Phil got a total victory on a course long before Omp ever got one.
Yep. He had a second jumping. It wasn't a jumping tournament. It was like a jumping course. Because they used to do these on Halo Reach where like they would post a video saying if you can do this course before anyone else and send me a feed or clip of it, you get like 600 Microsoft points or something. But he did a year membership. And all I did was like go hard on this course for like 2 days until I finally beat it and won a year membership. Because no one else did it except for me. For some reason, like no one decided, well, I might have to try this.
You couldn't really, as I recall with Spartan Warrior though, you couldn't, like, you could practice old tournaments, but you couldn't, like, practice the next tournaments coming up. You wouldn't see the course until the day, and you wouldn't get any practice,
Yeah.
would you? That's how it worked. Because I was just thinking, because of what you just said then, that, like, surely the incentive of winning a Connect would encourage at least, like, a few people to practice hardcore. And, like, it didn't seem to. I mean, I know obviously a lot of them are probably just random.
Yeah, those
scrubs
few
that
people are Re and Drago.
Yeah, Re and Drago, and that's about it. That's what I mean. Like, it was just 2 people, and that was it. Why would you even want to
Yeah.
connect? Even back then, before everyone knew that Connect sucked. Like, why would you want?
I
it?
mean,
Resell it.
as a little kid, I was really hyped about it, and I got it, and I still have all the games.
Me and Smokey,
Yeah,
I don't think
I
have
went hard
ever
for
at any point
adventures.
hyped up a prize of any kind on our courses, or I suppose ROG nowadays as well. Like, there's never been
Well,
any
you
hype.
guys are pretty simple. You guys just have the $50 grand prize.
Yeah. But in my case, I take about a year, maybe 2 years before I finally pay it out to someone. I think we were well into Halo 4 before I finally paid Ree his $50.
Oh, good.
Likewise with Smokey, I'm pretty sure we were.
He still owed a Machinima T-shirt from Machinima for what he didn't want to Spartan Warrior tournaments.
Still waiting on that. Jesus. I can't really remember actually meeting you two though because Phil was in my first Halo Reach tournament, and then you came along a couple of tournaments later. But I can't ever remember like the first time I ever actually met either of you guys. And I don't know like how you guys found out. I assume you must have just seen like the video of my face and were just I'll do it. I'll do the course, and that was it.
Yeah. I think it
was mainly Ray who like connected us to it, because he's certainly the guy who like connected me to your course. He was like, "Oh, this guy has a course, by the way. It's been going on for a while," and he kind of wants you to do it. And I waited till now, a couple tournaments later, to tell you.
I was trying to be my 16-year-old self was trying to be coy with it. It's like I'm not going to jump in straight away and ask the great ump double ump. I'll leave it a couple of tournaments. Phil, I didn't even know who you were. I knew you were on Spartan Warrior, and it was just like, oh yeah, all right, I'll get Phil to do it.
Yeah.
You were
Back in
pissed
the
off
day
actually
for
because
Halo.
you're one and only, apart from the Halo 3 tournaments, your one and only other tournament that you weren't in was like the second Halo Reach tournament, which was my tournament 3. And then you showed up for tournament 4, and you're like, I'm ready to do my tournament 3 run. It's like, no, that tournament's already done, Phil. It's like, no, I want to do the
Yeah.
tournament 3. It's like, no, we're literally starting tournament 4.
Just never got an invite to it.
And that stands as the one and only tournament that Phil's missed since he first started competing.
The struggle.
I remember the first time I met It was the beginning of MCC, and Smokey had just finished building the beta of his 13, and we were all just fooling around on it.
And then
But,
Puma
so
showed
that's-
me his stage.
That's
that he made.
sorry, hang on, that's the first time you saw
Oh
him,
yeah.
sorry.
The first time I met and then I showed him my
Oh,
stage
okay,
that I
okay.
forged. And I remember hated the Mantis jump.
Well, actually, the first time me and Phil mentioned Scott Foz, who is more commonly known as Soul Reaper, and how they both did courses on Halo 3. There's another person actually. Shout out to Soul Reaper. How many years he's been doing this? Almost probably just as long as Phil.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
though
I definitely knew him
even though he's kind of
in
been
the
in
early
and out.
days of Halo 3.
But like what I was getting at though with Soul is that I actually met Smokey, or Smokey found out about my course through Soul, which is just really, again, to me, really obscure. That just out of all the people, like, or like just seeing the video, I guess. I don't know. I find it weird. People like, oh yeah, I saw your video, so I want to do your course, and then like 5 years later, I still know them. And it's just like, oh god, yeah, you met me 5 years ago with a video of my face.
Yeah, because I remember me and Soul did that jousting tournament that Smokey had. And that was,
And then yeah,
I think that might have
that's
been the first time I
probably
met Smokey. I don't know if I knew him before that.
that's probably how Soul ended up telling Smokey about my course.
No, I remember Smokey told me the story of how Soul told him about the course, because Smokey had made a Halo Reach course and he had Soul do it, and then Soul told Smokey about your course because he thought he'd like it to compete on.
And the rest, again, the rest is history. You then get a grand champion and running his own obstacle course. Yeah, that's the thing that some people probably don't know is that like Smokey's original tournaments, like the ones he used on Halo that were on Halo 4, he'd done all of that on Reach as well, exactly the same on Reach, and then just never did a tournament on it. But they were there for like months and months, and he just never did anything with it.
His maps are still on Reach if you guys have it. You could just download
Yeah,
off
you
his
could go
file
on. You
share.
could go to Reach on backwards compatible and go download them. I'm just looking at I'm looking at my list actually of Reach courses, and I'd said to Bravo Delta, and I'd mentioned Kenny's many attempts at courses. I think he must have had about 3 different attempts at doing that course on Reach, along with his many others on Halo 4 and MCC and Halo 5.
Do we have to talk about Kenny?
I'm just making a reference to him.
So you
That's the
sponge
last.
this out of the-
That's the last reference we'll make to Kenny. And
Oh, we
any
kind of
other
have
reference.
to talk about the elephant in the room later on, though.
Oh, I'm not sure what that
The
is, but we'll
great
get to it.
sellout of Ninja Warrior.
But I know one elephant in the room that used to be around on Reach. Well, it wasn't really elephant, more like elephants, which was the many courses that were run by people like Duster, Irish, Dom, Elite did his tournament. Elite is renowned for his friggin' Halo
Soul
Reach
had
tournament. One. Soul had one. There's just so many obscure.
Didn't you have your first abs on Reach?
Yes.
Yeah, we had 2 Aborigines tournaments on Halo Reach.
I remember doing them, and I remembered actually. I just remembered Soul. You see, there's so many I've missed off this list. Soul. I freaking co-hosted the show with Soul. We were gonna do this into a big thing. Like we were gonna do dual commentary, and we did all the. He filmed about 7 or 8 tournaments. He had some funky obstacles, and then we just never ended up doing the co-commentary for it. as I recall, I think Ump was the best that anyone had ever done on it, and like he was like the only person who got past the first obstacle of stage 2. I want to say it was another Spartan Warrior all over again.
Hunter, you need to bring back co-commentators from your old tournaments.
No, dude, that was one tournament, and it was like 3 episodes. I want to say it was 2 episodes. Who was it? It was me and Dom, and then me and Mike, Elite, and that was it.
You were supposed to have Soul, and Soul never showed up for the.
Soul never showed up. Me and Dom did a co-commentary for his unbeatable Banzuki. Of one video of that, and then I don't think I've ever done a co-commentary again, apart from more recently things like Let's Plays and podcasts. But that's not co-commentary.
I remember
Halo stuff.
I remember you guys like tried to have like a joint channel with like 4 different people.
Yeah, ExtremeUKGaming.
Dom and Soul, I think.
I just like your one obscure YouTube video that's Minecraft vote. And you never even played Minecraft.
Who was that? I can't remember if that was Soul or
That
Ree.
was Soul that made it. Yeah, that was Soul.
Everyone, all 4 of them contributed at least one video during that dual partnership. Like, Dom put up his WWE, which is still funny because it introduced his legendary die, which he still to this day shouts at me whenever I see him. And Ree tried to do like a Halo Gladiators, I want to say. And then he did Fallout. Didn't he do Fallout 3 or something?
The Fallout 3, the 4 Fallout 3 videos, and then the Extreme US Gaming announcement video.
Oh dear. Anyway, sorry, we're going to start there, of course, there actually, but that was the Reach courses, and then we jumped to the Halo 4 courses. And actually, I suppose I might as well ask you guys another question that I've written down, which was in the whatever many years that everyone's been running the courses, what is everybody's favorite moment that they personally, it doesn't even have to involve them. It could involve them seeing, like, they were watching somebody else do a run. Their favorite moment in jumping, in Halo jumping.
Okay, I have 3 moments, I think.
Oh, you're going to have to pick one.
That's Puma. Oh god. Okay, I'll pick the one for me, and that was Tournament 11 when I first beat my first ever stage 1 in Tournament 11 of Smokies.
When you were number 1.
Yeah, when I was.
You didn't plump for Tournament 14 or 15.
No, I twisted Smokey's arm to give me number 1 though. Like I begged him for weeks. Smokey was not for the idea, but eventually I talked him into it. But only on the condition that I was actually the first one to go.
Yeah. Anybody else? Phil?
I'd say.
Doesn't have to be yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be yourself. It probably will be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be yourself.
Yeah, I'd say the time that I did one of your Halo Reach runs at my friend's house, and I ended up getting like 10 extra runs or something like that. Like a lot more extra runs than.
Was that Buddy Sideshow Freak? Or was it Max?
No, it was actually a real person.
No. Sideshow Freak, let's make it clear. Sideshow Freak was a real person, and I originally, for a long time, I actually thought Sideshow Freak was a real, because the first time that Sideshow Freak was in the tournament, like the actual Sideshow Freak came on the mic and started talking, and it took me months before I put 2 and 2 together and realized that, like, he could have been on the mic, but you could have still been playing.
That's what
I
happened
just
every
assumed
single time.
it was a real guy. But the Max Challenge was always a funny one the first time I saw him, because you just came in. This was Tournament 8, I remember. And that course was really hard. And you just came in, did a run, like, didn't even ask for any practice. You didn't speak at all either. Did a run, failed the jump hang. And then Duster was in there with me. And I was like, oh, okay, good run, Max Challenge. And then Duster was like, nah, there's something not about this guy. There's something wrong. There's something wrong here about this guy.
Yeah, get that Tennessee tuition. Yeah.
Duster was the suspicious one.
That's
But
the
no,
thing
the
now. When there's
Sideshow
someone
Freak
without
is a
mic
real
that does
person.
good, we always suspect it now, thanks to the Sideshow and the other Smurfs.
Yeah,
Oh, the
Sideshow
Smurfs
Freak
have become a way of
stopped
life
playing.
now.
The real
Phil
Sideshow
really
Freak stopped
pioneered
playing.
The Smurf
the
technique.
alternate account.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
It's all thanks to Phil
You're welcome.
and his real friend Sideshow Freak.
We gotta
That
bring back
now
Sideshow for Tournament
Is
20,
like
though.
he's like anti-video games, and I don't have his login. So
You can just change the armor, it's fine.
yeah,
You've got not Philip now, haven't you? Instead.
I've got not Philip and another one called I Play Tennis.
I play tennis.
I
That's
remember back
everything
then you
but
actually had to pay
ISIS.
for other accounts too. You couldn't just get them
Yeah.
for free.
That's commitment. That is then.
So it was real dedication.
Oh yeah,
Oh dear. What was your favorite moment?
I don't know. I guess when I got to stage 3 in Spartan Warrior for the first time, that was a lot of fun.
The first when was
Kind of a
that the
cool
one when you
breakthrough
fell
run.
off when you fell off the first obstacle?
Yeah, that was the one where I immediately failed stage 3, but I got there. So
I mean, was it 4 or 5 times? If you don't count the one that never got uploaded, was it like 5 times you made it to stage 3 on Spartan Warrior?
no, it's just like 4.
4.
I got beat
Still
stage
good.
1 5 times.
Yeah. For a course that like you don't get to practice and you get one attempt, imagine that on abs. Like I'm sure. Well, actually, I don't know why I just said that because there probably is a few people on abs. Maybe not that have beaten it 5 times, but have done pretty good and made it more.
I don't think anyone's gotten to stage 3 4 times.
No, no.
Chris has gotten there a couple times.
No, I just gotten there once.
one day I'll get there.
I'll get there too.
Maybe one day
I'm
we'll
not-
come back.
Yeah,
I suppose just to quickly on my favorite moment. I mean, it could be anything really. Being a host, it's a lot more difficult with so many more choices. But it always, to me, like some people have shouted at me. Well, not shouted at me, but brought this up before about the fact that why'd you pick this total victory over this one? But just seeing Ree achieve total victory because it was the first one on my course, and also because I'd known Ree for a few months now, and I'd known that he'd never beaten Spartan Warrior, even though he really wanted to. I just thought, yeah, that's really nice. Just a little bit more, just a little bit higher for me than Smokey's total victory, or watching finally achieve total victory, which I knew had never happened before. But I was there when he did it on Rog's course, and I was like, hey, finally.
how
Yeah, that was
hyped
pretty
up was Ree when he got total victory? Was he like screaming?
Yeah, Ree was like the most dedicated jumper I've ever known.
Yeah,
Ree was not all that, even like, but like if you like interviewed him before he did his run and afterwards, his voice, his tone would have been exactly the same. It's like, yeah, like before the run, he'd obviously be very serious. He'd be like, yeah, I'm ready to go on this final stage. I'm ready to do it. And then afterwards, you'd expect like, oh my God, I'm so happy, I finally did it. But instead, it was like, yeah, I'm really happy that I finally achieved total victory. It was has been a goal of mine for quite a while. I suppose he can't help it if that's his voice, but if that's his monotone voice, but it would have been nice just to have a little bit more enthusiasm. So then we jump to Halo 4, which
conclusions.
I don't really recall
Jumping to conclusions.
too many Halo
You
4
wanna bring that up?
courses.
Yeah, bring that up.
Jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, the old Halo jumping clan.
No, oh god,
Yeah, I
we're
remember
not
they
even
made
gonna.
that clan.
Okay, we're not even gonna get into the jumping clans because there's been a few so stupid ones. That was another one. That was probably another reason
Jumping
why
to conclusion
Dom.
was like the OG.
Wasn't there like a
was like-
website which had a list of like all of the jumping clans or something on it once upon a time?
Jumping to conclusions had its own. It's like jumping to conclusions.weebly.com or something like that.
The one that always sticks out for
I just
me
remember
was
one day. I just remember one day, like I get on Xbox Live, And like Rhea and Drago invite me to a party, and they're like, "Oh, we started this clan. We made you one of the founders. So there you go." It's like what?
We all did
Like,
runs
alright.
on like Spartan Warrior to see like what our rank was, and I got to stage 4 and
Actually,
the
yeah, I do
third
remember that.
third.
That does ring a bell a little bit. The one that always stood out for me in terms of clans, there's been a few, but the one, again, maybe it was because it was the first one on my course, was when Dom tried to get a little. I can't remember what he called it. He tried to get a clan going on Reach.
The
Like
quadruple
him.
rangers.
That was it. The quad rangers, and like he forged this shitty like practice course in a shitty backyard course that he like, oh yeah, we'll get everybody on this course, and you can take some shots for some training videos. And I mean, I used it in like a couple of profiles, and that was about it.
The Alpha Clan was the best group of people to come together. I'll say it right now. You know.
The G Squad, I suppose you could count that as a clan, but that
That
had
doesn't
Smokey in it
doesn't
anyway.
count. Snoz didn't have a G.
The G Snars.
G Snoz doesn't count.
There's a couple of, or there have been a couple of clans on Halo 5 with the kids, haven't there? I don't really follow it, to be honest.
I don't know if there's a clan.
Yeah, rip
I don't really
the kids
follow
clans. But no, jump into Halo 4. There was a few Halo 4 courses that I found, but not as many as on Halo 3 and Halo Reach. One of them that always stands out for me was Sane's 6-stage obstacle course.
Oh,
Which I'm
I
pretty
got
sure-
total victory in that one too. I forgot about that. I forgot. Yeah, I won 600 Microsoft points on that
Is this
one.
on YouTube? I want to verify this.
I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I
It's
remember
not,
running
but
it, and I
did
got
get
to
total
like,
victory.
I got well, well,
Can
that was
someone
a waste.
verify this claim?
I remember I got to
Sane
the
came.
5th stage and failed like some launch jump or something like that.
We need after this podcast. We'll invite Sane.
That's how I
We'll
got.
confirm
That's
it.
how I changed my
You
name
need to
to a
source
med
this
pack.
claim.
That's how I changed my name to a med
That
pack
when you
with
spent that 1,600 Microsoft points. And...
Yeah.
I can't, but apart from that, like there was a couple of others, like Killer did a course, and I know 2 Bravo Delta tried to do like one tournament on Halo 4. I think I was in that.
He had one
tournament.
tournament, I believe.
Yeah. And then there was R&R. Was that Halo 4 or was
The
that
R&R.
MCC?
Yeah. No, that was Halo 4, the whole R&R clan that hosted a tournament.
There's another clan, by the way. But apart from that, there wasn't really that many. It was just really me and Smokey dominating. Also, I suppose this is a good time for me to mention that having Smokey's course.
Oh, yeah, my-
Oh, your tournament.
I had a tournament too. I need to upload it, but I finished it like a long time ago. I still have all the clips.
Is this as like as far behind as I am in terms of
Oh, I'm
backlog?
farther behind. This was before MCC came out.
Oh God. Jesus, what a scrub! Honestly, how can you get that far behind, Puma? Wow.
I don't know. I never had another tournament since, so.
I suppose for me, just to quickly mention about when Smokey's course came along, this was fun for me because apart from, like I say, a few Kenny tournaments and then random tournaments that never got put on YouTube, having Smokey actually run his tournaments, which I knew he'd wanted to do it for a while, but actually him doing them and then for me personally getting to compete on them, it's like, hey, I can finally see how good of a jumper I actually am outside of hosting my own tournament. And it's just 19 straight stage 1 clears later. It's not too bad, I guess.
Hunter, they haven't seen those two.
Oh, sorry, did I say 19? I meant 16, sorry. I meant 16. Fuck me. Well, anyone who's anyone knows anyway. I know I'm sure there's a squad of people out there.
17, 18, 19.
I'm sure there's a squad of people out there that don't have Xbox or Halo and only are just big fanboys living in Mexico.
Yeah, you
that
ruined
watch them
all
on
the
YouTube.
Roblox kids and the other people.
You probably spoiled it for Phil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you spoiled
dude.
it for Phil.
Come on.
MCC
Now I'm not
and then
gonna watch the
MCC.
video.
MCC came along, and to be honest, the only thing I want to mention on MCC was Pixel, because Pixel
Pixel's
had
weekly tournaments.
his weekly tournaments that I thought were
my
on
gosh.
Halo 4, but according to Puma, they were all MCC. Every week.
All 19. He did a tournament 19 straight weeks, once a week, and he got like 20 people to do it every time, and he never uploaded a single one. But it was amazing.
I'd forgotten about it, and then Puma brought it up, so I had to add it to the list because it was a
I
massive
just
part of.
know I have the stage 1 clear record, but also the stage 2 fail record, and Weapon Matt got total victory on it.
I think I showed up to about three of those 19 tournaments, and that was about it. I knew they kept happening, and like when it was happening every week, I was just like, nah, I'm not bothered about this.
It was me, Fireball, and Weapon Matt were the all stars, and he played a theme.
What a
He was
lineup.
Mike at the beginning of our runs because we got themes.
Then, of course, we jump to Halo 5, which is where all the shenanigans has been happening. With
Oh, we got some cheese here.
we have some interesting ones. I'm sure there's plenty more on this that I've missed off this list, but the ones that I wrote down were Talking King's courses, Clever Alchemist did a course. There's probably a few others. Sparky's course,
Okay.
Rog's course obviously came along, Spartan Sasuke.
You may need to repeat that.
Oh, did you miss that?
You cut out a lot hard.
Oh, Talking King, Clever Alchemist.
Yeah. Yep. The Clever Alchemist course is the only one I ever made the final stage on.
And then, of course, there's
sure I remember
Rog's
that.
course, Spartan Sasuke, Soriachi as well. Obviously, Rog. Rogs is now a big part of Halo jumping. And then, of course, there was many of Sauron's tournaments before Double Ump decided to revive a certain tradition, an old tournament, which has been embedded into our brains now and will never ever be forgotten in Halo jumping. That is abs.
Abs.
I can't believe
Yeah,
abs has
Aborigines
been.
been a fun ride.
I can't believe abs has been going on for over a year. I can't believe
Currently
I
on
don't think I
just.
can either.
I can't
believe
believe just
we actually made it in tournament 10.
just over. I can't believe like just over a year ago, because I can vaguely remember the conversation. It's just like you were thinking about it, and it's just like you remembered your old courses on Halo Reach, and then you were like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm thinking about bringing them back," and it's just like, "Oh God, really, really?" And literally, it's proven to be as insane, if not more, than it was on Reach. Like everything you guys, everyone that's watched Aborigines, everything that you see on Halo 5, it's pretty much the same thing as what happened on Reach. Maybe a little bit crazier because there's obviously Sauron as well now, and the commentary. But
Oh god.
the way the tournaments were run is pretty much exactly the same as it was on Reach.
There's also a lot more, variety of good jumpers now. Back then, it was just Rhea and Draga. Those are the only two guys who could ever clear.
That's
Sometimes
actually,
neither of them were clear.
I suppose that's something that we can sort of talk
I guess
about.
Space Vortex might have been still around. But
Oh yeah, Ump's
now there's
triple
like
ump.
a good dozen of jumpers who can clear.
This is what I mean, actually. This is something, I was going to touch on, is that even though I said, we said, oh, yeah, we'd love, no offense, Puma, we'd love to go back to the old days of how it used to be with Drago and Ree and everybody else. But back then, it was like, there was such a tiny group of people that could clear a stage. And now there's
There's a
so
huge
many.
skill gap compared to now.
There's so many now. Whether that's a good thing or not, in Ump's eyes, is questionable, because I know Ump definitely prefers tournaments where there's not many clears at all. A bit more like Spartan Warrior.
Yeah.
Phil only likes
I
tournaments
love it when
where
tournaments end on stage 1.
Phil only likes tournaments. Phil only likes tournaments where he does good on them.
Yeah. Well, duh, that's everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some people well, actually no, I was going to say myself, but actually I wouldn't know what it's like, to be honest.
So-
Sorry. No, but just as a kind of quick other question, if you guys could pick one person, this is kind of an obscure question that might be difficult to answer, but if you guys could pick one person that's not around anymore in the community that you could bring back into the community that's in here like all the time, like the way that most of us kind of hang out most days. If you could pick one person to bring back in, who would that be? And Phil, don't say Sideshow Freak.
I'm not gonna say Sideshow Freak.
Puma.
Someone that would like
How
help
you going, you, Phil?
revive Halo jumping.
No, it doesn't have to be just someone that whether they were cool or not, or they were just a nice guy to have around, a fun guy to have around. It doesn't even have to be a guy. It probably is a guy, but let's be honest. But
I'd probably say LZ Ravager.
Oh yeah, that guy.
To be honest,
Good one.
he's pretty cool.
I would say Space Vortex, because me and him were really close friends, and they just kind of disappeared. And he was a really cool guy.
yeah, Puma.
Uh,
It's a bit more
this
difficult
guy,
for
he
you, Puma,
wasn't-
I suppose. But
He wasn't very good, but we always had fun talking to each other, and that was he was a cool guy and everything, but he just disappeared. It was Car Crazy Scott or Darkwall 5231167 on MCC
I can't believe you
tournaments.
actually remembered all of the numbers. To be honest,
Shit.
But yeah, he
Dedicated.
disappeared. So, but he was a really cool guy, and he was always happy to compete. He never beat stage 1, but he always had fun. Then he just disappeared one day.
I suppose you can't really say Drake. I mean, I said like in terms of me picking, I was going to say
Yeah, can we get Drago actually back? You know? Like,
yeah, because Drago's sort of back, but he's not back. He kind of just comes in and does the occasional tournament, but he's not regularly in the group. But aside from Drago, I would just pick the obvious one that is obviously Dom for me personally, and that's not just because I suppose it's the same reason that Ump said is because Dom's my friend, and that's another thing I suppose that I love about Halo jumping is that actually I've developed a few friendships with some of these guys in real life as well, outside of Halo, and Dom being the obvious one. But yeah, I'd love to have Dom back in Halo jumping. It would be pretty funny. I don't think there's really anything else, unless anybody else wants to cover something Halo jumping related that they want to talk about. 10 years of Halo jumping.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'll take that as a no. Okay, so in which case, yeah, thanks to Phil, thanks to Ump, thanks to Puma for another podcast. Hopefully this will be up reasonably quickly, as quickly as the first podcast was. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time. 10 years of Halo jumping, guys. Here's to another questionably
Another
10 years,
10.
depending on if
Oh
343
god.
fuck
Am I
up
gonna be
Halo or
in my
not.
30s?
Yeah, we're gonna be jumping into the 30s.
I'm going to be 33 if we get to the 20-year
I'll-
anniversary.
I'll be 29. Jesus.
I don't want to even
Yeah, I'll be
think what
fucking
could
30.
happen. I didn't want to think what my life would be
I'll
like.
have
What
my
sort of
kid
things I should have
run
gone through in
your
I
life by the
probably
time I
won't
hit
be on
33.
Xbox by then.
Oh, come on.
Phil will be
You
too
got your
busy.
kid running the course too.
Phil will be. Oh God, no! I'm sorry. I don't ever want to picture that. I don't ever want to picture a competitor that is that like used to compete or still still competes. I don't want to ever picture their kid running the course. It's like, yes, next up
Oh
we
my
have
God.
Double Ump's kid.
This is
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't even have a
It's been
game
10
tag,
years.
it's
I might
just
get to
Ump's
that.
Kid.
We've had
My
like
nephew
sister.
got
I've
a run
had
one
Dom's
time.
sister. I've had Pixel's
We've had
nephew.
Ump's
I've had
nephew.
Fireball's cousin, Ump's nephew. I've had. I don't ever
You had my
want
neighbor,
son or
Sideshow
daughter.
Freak.
I don't ever want son or daughter. Please.
It's a shame Snoz doesn't have kids. He'd have his kids compete.
Oh dear. But yeah, 10 years of Halo jumping. We'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, here's to Halo jumping. Thanks guys, and yeah, goodbye.
Bye bye.